The moment the young Jean-Paul Sartre first gazes into Simone de Beauvoir's eyes at the École Normale Supérieure in Paris in the spring of 1929 is the only time his mind goes blank. When he finally manages to arrange a date with her a few weeks later, in early June, she doesn't show up. Sartre sits in a tea room in Rue de Médicis waiting for her. In vain. Paris is lovely and warm that day. White clouds cavorting high in the deep blue sky, and he has decided not to wear a tie. He plans to take her to the nearby Jardin du Luxembourg after tea and sail model boats on the pond. He has read somewhere that this is what people do. When he has almost finished his cup of tea, after glancing at the clock for the 15th time and protractedly tamping and lighting his pipe, a young blonde woman comes rushing up to his table. She tells him she's Simone's sister, Hélène de Beauvoir. Simone can't make it today, sadly. She's very sorry. But how did you recognize me so easily among all these people? Sartre asks. Simone told me you were short, wore glasses, and were very ugly, she explains. Thus begins one of the 20th century's strangest love stories. In the late afternoon, when the sun peeks out again from under the low clouds and its rays angle into Auguststrasse, the poet Masha Kaleko blinks and stops for a second, savouring the warmth on her skin. She always knocks off at 4 on the dot and then runs downstairs to the office of the Jewish Workers' Welfare Centre, where she has worked for the past 5 years. Masha pushes the door open and stands there motionless. She lets the sunshine warm her, lets her thoughts run wild, hears the trams screeching in the distance, the beer delivery carts bumping along the streets, the shrieks of children running around the courtyards here in Berlin's Jewish quarter near Alexanderplatz, and the cries of the paperboys hawking the latest edition at the top of their voices. But then she blocks out the noise and simply soaks up the gentle warmth. The sun sinks behind the tall buildings around Friedrichstrasse, a few last rays catching the golden dome of the synagogue in Oranienstrasse, and twilight finally comes. Yet 22-year-old Masha isn't ready to go home just yet. She's attracted instead to bars in the west of the city, usually to the Romanisches Café, a popular meeting place for artists at the end of the Kurfürstendamm, Berlin's main avenue, where she sits and debates in her sonorous voice. The satirist Kurt Tucholsky, author Joseph Roth, actress Ruth Lanshoff, and others draw up their chairs when Masha arrives. They love her mop of curly brown hair, her knowing laugh, the benevolent wit that sparkles in her eyes. They are often joined later at the café by her husband, Quiet Soul, a scholar through and through who wears metal-rimmed spectacles and has thinning hair. This skinny man is a reporter for the Jüdische Rundschau, Germany's best-selling Jewish weekly, and a lecturer in Hebrew. He's also madly in love. He sees the other men watching his impetuous young wife and notes how she relishes being watched. From minute to minute, Quiet Soul grows quieter and quieter, and he orders some tea while the others start on their first bottle of wine. After a while, he politely makes his excuses, puts on his hat, picks up his briefcase, bids them farewell, and goes home. He is asleep by the time Masha gets back to their flat on Hohenzollernkorso in Tempelhof. She gazes at him as his earnest features softly rise and fall in time with his breathing. She goes over to the kitchen table, takes a sheet of paper and a pencil, and writes him a love poem. Perhaps one of the most moving love poems ever written. It begins, "The others are the boundless sea, you, though, are the harbour deep." She scribbles, "For a man," places it on his breakfast plate, and is soon snuggling up next to him in bed. She'll sail away again at 6 the next morning to her office on the other side of the city. When Saul feels Masha's body against his in the safety of her home port, he stirs briefly, reaches behind him and, greatly relieved, caresses her tenderly. No one in 1929 has yet invested any hope in the future, and no one wishes to be reminded of the past. This is why everyone is so recklessly absorbed in the present.